Namaste. This is Yoga Therapy Podcast, and I'm your host, Shira Cohen, yoga teacher, yoga therapist, and Ayurvedic wellness educator. In these conversations with experts in the field of yoga therapy, you'll find out what it is and how it can help you and your loved ones to reclaim well-being. We'll touch on physical as well as mental health, physiology, emotions, women's health, spiritual well-being, goddesses, and self-development in the fullest sense. Listening to another story can change ours, so thank you for showing up, and let's begin this journey together. So, hello everyone. Today is going to be a short announcement really, because I'm changing the scheduling, so I will just be doing 2 podcasts a month for the next month or 2. I don't know, it just depends. Due to the COVID regulations, I lost a lot of my work and clients and students. I didn't want to go online because I think people are in front of their screens way too much, and I don't think it's the best option. So that's my personal opinion. So due to my choice and my principles, I kind of got in my own way. And so I'm looking for new work. And that just means that I'm at this crossroads right now, and I'm looking to find a publisher, and I'm writing literary agents. I really need to get this book out. So my focus is on that for the next month or 2. But we do have some really amazing guests coming on the next couple of months. So we'll have Beth Spindler on, who is a yoga teacher, yoga therapist, and she's been training yoga therapists and teachers for years. We have Joanne Spence, and she's written an amazing book on yoga therapy for trauma. Who else have we got on? I can't remember. Oh yeah, Layla Stewart. She's going to be on later in the month, probably next month in October. So we've got a great list of people coming up. I'm very excited about all this. I'm sorry to disappoint those who would like to hear weekly podcasts. It's just a lot of work, and I do love doing it, and I will keep doing it, don't worry, and I will switch over when I have more stability and security. But right now, everything is up in the air, and it just feels like too much to take on. So that's why. But for the thing that I just said before, that sitting too much and too much in front of screens, I can give a little practice right now for those of you who want to work with strengthening the lower belly. So I've seen this in a lot of my friends, family, students, and clients the last times, that due to COVID and too much sitting, I mean, this was already a thing 10 years ago, but it's just getting worse. It's more and more compounded each year. And I'm just seeing all these muscular imbalances. So we know that the lower back, the psoas, the upper thighs, the hips, the bum, there's so much tightness and at the same time weakness in these muscles. There's just a complete imbalance. So people are just sitting way too much, which brings all the weight of the body. It's the heaviest posture for the spine is seated. So standing is better, lying down obviously, or doing any kind of movement is freedom for the spine. The spine is made to move. It's not made to be still. And so that's one of the reasons a lot of people are highly stressed and much more prone to being triggered and traumatized, because our body is not resilient due to the spine and that whole nervous system that travels through the spinal cord not having enough mobility and therefore adaptability to stresses, whether that's physical, mental, emotional, psychological. So what I've noticed also from my own age group, people above 40, is that the abdominals get too weak. We gain weight because of the change in hormones. And so this whole thing, like, even though I do yoga daily, there was a time where I started to do more stress relieving kind of yoga, so much more gentle yoga. But that led to less core strengthening and strengthening in general of all the muscles, because when we find something that works for one area of our life, we tend to go into that, or I do anyway, tend to go into that a lot. We love it, we really appreciate it, but then we neglect other parts, and because we just have so much to do, we can't fit it all into one practice. So what I've come across over the last months is, again, Uddiyana Bandha, which is the abdominal contraction. And that I wasn't doing this for ages because there was an overemphasis for years, especially in the more power kind of yogas, which I was moving away from for a while. So then I didn't use that, and it's really been missing. So for those of you who don't know what this is, I'll explain it. For those of you who do, it's a good thing to practice daily. So do it on an empty stomach. Do it after you've been to the toilet in the morning, or just before you go to the toilet. Now, there are contraindications for this. So people suffering from colitis, any ulcers, diaphragmatic hernia, abdominal problems, high blood pressure, heart disease, glaucoma, or pregnancy should avoid this strong contraction. But if you don't have any of those issues or conditions, then it's fine to do this, and it's really good for the pancreas, the liver. It strengthens all the internal organs in the stomach. It strengthens our digestive fire, stimulates and massages all the organs around the abdomen. It's really good for the adrenals. So this is another reason that I started doing this again. And it removes any lethargy or soothes anxiety and tension. And it's really good for the blood in the whole of the torso. So it's a really good practice. So the best way, I think, especially for this case, because we're always sitting, is to stand up, have your feet about hip width apart. And just for a moment, I want you to move your body from side to side, maybe rotate those hips, feel any kind of weakness or strength in the lower back, feel maybe any tightness or looseness in your hips. Just feel the differences of left and right, and then feel how that travels down to the feet. So notice which foot is more connected and which parts of your foot are lifting off from the floor or pushing into the floor or kind of collapsing. So just notice that there's, in both of your feet, you'll feel different areas are much more engaged and others are maybe collapsed. Okay, so you want to kind of get that evenness, and then just bend your knees and sink down and allow the lower back also to sink down. And just notice what happens when that sacrum rolls down towards the floor with the knees bent. Not too much, just a little. And then I want you to bend forward and place your hands on the thighs. They can be just above the knees, depending on your body. So I have long arms and quite a short trunk. Okay, if you have long trunk and short arms, you can bring your arms up higher towards the groin, sliding those hands. And then you want to straighten the arms so that you create this vacuum in the belly. Okay, and I want you to bend forward slightly. So if you'd be looking from my side, I'd be making a kind of Z with my feet, my knees, my bum and my head. Okay, and then you lengthen, and as you breathe out, moving those ribs away from the hips or the pelvis, and you keep breathing out, and that belly moves in and up the navel. And then hold the breath out. Keep sucking. It's really like a suction. You want to feel that belly sucked in and up. And with an in-breath, standing up, straightening. And you feel this kind of lift. And if you do it in front of a mirror, looking from the side, you will see how you create this lift. So do that 3 times in the mornings. Don't do it at night because it's too activating. It really gets the fire, even in the mind going. It really wakes you up. So that's a good practice for for strengthening the belly, and again, lifting those organs in and up, the bladder even. So a lot of us start having issues with the bladder after the age of 40 or once we've had children, and that's normal, okay? Everyone has it, so it's nothing to be ashamed about. And these kinds of practices, that lifting the bandhas, are really important. So Mula Bandha is also good, but it's not the only one, especially when we're talking about lifting that rib cage away. Okay, so you can even do this practice just sitting on your chair, but because it's all about sitting less, I'd like you to stand up and do it. But when you're sitting, I want you to just notice, can you lift that rib cage away from the sacrum, the pelvis? Trying to lift it all up. And even then you can do this belly, the navel, sucking the navel in and up. And just strengthening this whole area. And then just as you breathe in and relax everything, notice how everything drops. Feel how the pelvis also, and the pelvic floor, all these muscles just drop. Yeah, and that is our tendency. That becomes a habit. And then our body doesn't know any different. So really getting that lift, maybe even as you sit, pressing the heels into the floor, engaging the bum muscles, bringing the knees slightly towards each other. So there's this kind of resistance and engagement in the whole of your legs. And then you feel that pelvic floor lifting as well. And then release. Okay? And then you can get back to your day, but just checking in maybe once every hour and feeling that you can get that lift and revitalize that vital body, because your organs are the vitality of the whole system. They are the ones who metabolize and change everything and create the hormones that you need for the rest of the body to communicate and function well. So charging it by lifting it up and keeping that energy within the trunk for a few moments. It's really important. And it's very simple. Okay, everyone. Sorry to disappoint for those of you who wished for a big, long talk, but we'll be back next week. Okay, starting next week, it'll be every second week for a few months. Much love.